Live from the Sports and Recreation Center on the campus of the College of Staten Island, you're watching exclusive CUNYAC second round basketball coverage right here on CSI Sportsnet. This afternoon, the College of Staten Island will take on John Jay College in the second round play-in game for the right to advance into the CUNYAC semifinals this Tuesday night. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Babuski alongside Dave Pizzuto. And, you know, Dave, it's a game that the College of Staten Island really didn't think they were going to play in. They had won 11 consecutive games, but they dropped their final two, and that dropped them into third place.
Yeah, Mike, the Dolphins were in first place in the CUNY Conference, the longest stretch of any team in the CUNY, up until that last week of the season where they had to play the two teams that were below them in the standings, Brooklyn College and Lehman. They fall in both. Mike, they didn't play well in the fourth quarter of their game at Brooklyn, a game in which they led by 15 into the third quarter. They ended up losing by 12, getting blown out in the fourth. And then in the game against Lehman, Mike, the Dolphins were down pretty much all game here at the Sports and Recreation Center, came back to tie twice late, but ultimately fell just short. And now the Dolphins really in unfamiliar territory, Mike, having to pick themselves back off of the mat. So maybe, perhaps, this second round game, a beneficial one for the Dolphins as they look to take a positive step forward and build up some momentum going into a potential rematch against Lehman on Tuesday.
You know, Dave, the Dolphins will play John Jay here today in this game. And, you know, it's a John Jay team, Dave, that certainly struggled this year. They're just 5-21 on the season, including 3-13 in the conference. And, you know, they're a team that hasn't gotten a win against either Brooklyn College or Lehman College or the College of Staten Island. And, you know, the Dolphins performed pretty well against them in both games earlier this season. So certainly CSI is going to have an opportunity to roll into this game as a strong favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. On paper anyway, Mike, they are the overwhelming favorite. They beat John Jay by 35 points here at the Sports and Recreation Center earlier in the season. And then they beat John Jay by 30 points on the road a little bit later. So you're talking about two monster wins from CSI against John Jay during the season. And, Mike, it's a John Jay team that's only averaging just a hair under 50 points a game. They didn't reach 50 points in CSI's last two. And, you know, one of the things I was talking about with some of the staffers at CSI is that even though the Dolphins really didn't play well and essentially didn't shoot well in their last game against Lehman, they still managed to score 74 points in a loss, Mike, and that's just because the Dolphins play that up-tempo, back-and-forth game. They get a lot of shots up and a lot of shots off, and that's trouble for teams like John Jay, which struggle for good opportunities and to put points on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and, you know, Dave, the Dolphins certainly struggled with their shooting mightily in that game. It was, you know, a first half where the Dolphins just could not really buy a basket from the three-point line. And, you know, they really struggled with their shooting throughout the game. And, you know, it was a game, like you mentioned, Dave, they really trailed almost the entire time. And although the game ended up at 79-75, Lehman had opened up the lead to as much as 8 with just over a minute remaining in that game.
Yeah, you know, it was one of those really frustrating games for the Dolphins because it seemed like every time they took, you know, 2 steps forward, they would take 1 step back. They started 0 for 13 from the three-point line, Mike, and, you know, the Dolphins like to consider themselves a three-point shooting team. You know, this season they're shooting, you know, just about 33% from three-point range, 1 out of every 3. But you know what, Mike? You go 0 for 13, and then you look up at the scoreboard, you're down by 10, 12 points. And that's just the way it goes sometimes with these teams. The Dolphins are able to make them in bunches, but when they're missing them in bunches, it can really be detrimental to the success of the team. That's why a game like this is beneficial for the Dolphins, because it's a chance to get their kind of shooting touch back and get prepared for a game on Tuesday that you'd like to think they'd be able to punch their ticket to here against John Jay.
Yeah, and the Dolphins, Dave, will have Rosa Perone back in the lineup. She did not play in that game against Lehman College. So, you know, certainly, Dave, she's one of the only players, or maybe even the only player with much size on the CSI Dolphin team, and that's going to have to help them going into this CUNYAC tournament.
Yeah, and that's really what did them in that game against Brooklyn, Mike, on the road. The Dolphins had a chance to wrap up the number 1 seed going into that game. Dolphins, like I said, were leading by 15 in the third quarter, but, Mike, they were out-rebounded 62-30 in that game. And I don't care if you're the Golden State Warriors or the CSI Dolphins, you're not going to win games when you're out-rebounded by 30, 35 rebounds a game, because those mean second chance opportunities, third chance opportunities, extended time that you have to play defense, and it does fatigue you. And the Dolphins, I think, responded well in Rosa's absence on the boards against Lehman. I think they actually won the rebounding war there. But what Rosa does is, even if she's only scoring 6 or 8 points, what she does is she's just that interior presence that makes teams think twice about going inside. Maybe they don't rush numbers into the paint and rather play a stronger perimeter game. So when Rosa is on the floor, she changes the entire dynamic of what teams have to do to attack the Dolphins. And it's going to be interesting to see, how she gets back on the court today. And of course, if the Dolphins are to advance, how her role plays out the rest of the way.
So this is one of 2 games here this afternoon, Dave. CCNY and Hunter will also be playing at the same time this afternoon. That game will be at Hunter College. And John Jay got to this game, Dave, by defeating York College 57-43. And for CCNY, they were able to get to this second round game by beating Medgar Evers, where now number 4 Hunter College will wait for CCNY. Hunter getting the same bye that the Dolphins did for finishing in 4th place.
Yeah, you know what? That's a big wrench that was thrown into this tournament, Mike, because Baruch College, due to NCAA and CUNYAC sanctions, are ineligible for postseason this year. So, that changed the entire structure from number 4 down, because when you think about it, Baruch actually finished 4th in the conference. So Hunter was able to get a bye at number 4 when they conceivably should have been the number 5 seed, maybe playing the 8 seed Medgar Evers. And you think if things had kind of shaked out, CSI might be playing a completely different opponent here in the second round. Instead, Hunter gets a bye, gets very refreshed, plays a CCNY team that had a host of problems putting Medgar Evers away the other night. And, Hunter College is a team too, Mike, where when they're playing well, especially defensively, and they're shutting teams down, they have a chance to really throw a wrench into this tournament as a severe dark horse number 4 team. If they're able to beat CCNY in the other quarterfinal, they will match up with Brooklyn in what will be the first game played on Tuesday. And all of those games from here on out get played at City College of New York. So CCNY, who's playing as the 5 seed against Hunter College, they know that if they score an upset, they're at home the rest of the way.
Yeah, and CCNY does have some talent on that team, Dave. Erica Richards, the senior, averaging over 16 points a game for CCNY, and they rebound the basketball pretty well, and they could definitely give Hunter a little bit of problems here this afternoon.
Yeah, Hunter's one of those teams, Mike, that's very streaky too. I mean, they go big stretches where they struggle to score, and then they have big stretches where they're really playing very well. And for CCNY, they have to try and maximize their very slow, methodical defensive game on the road against Hunter College. We will try to bring you some updates of that game as we go. We'll see if the live feed cooperates with us with Hunter's live stats, and we'll go from there. But we'll keep our viewers abreast. Either way, the Dolphins win. They would play the late game on Tuesday, Mike, against Lehman College, and that should be a tremendous showdown, maybe one of the featured games of the tournament, both on the men's or women's side.
Yeah, that's going to be an extremely competitive game, Dave. The teams split their regular season matchups, both teams winning on the opponent's home court, so it'll be interesting. Now they're going to play on a neutral court for the final matchup.
Yeah, and you know what, depending on who you ask, Mike, I mean, it's obviously a toss-up, but remember that Brooklyn only got the number 1 seed because of tiebreakers. But you ask a lot of people in the conference, Lehman College, they're the defending champs, and a lot of people think pound for pound they're probably the better team. So if you're the Dolphins, you probably got a tougher draw, if you will, having to play Lehman in the semifinals. But if the Dolphins are able to get past the semis, I think they should feel a little bit more confident against the Brooklyn team that they put away rather handedly here at the Sports and Recreation Center earlier in the year, but of course struggled mightily in the second half against Brooklyn when they were on the road. But either way, Mike, the semifinals and the final round should be really outstanding no matter who ends up going in.
So let's talk a little bit, Dave, about this CSI Dolphin team, the team that had won 11 straight, had dropped their final 2 in the regular season. Dave, we look at that game against Lehman College. Once again, Samantha Flecker, Christina Passatoro, and Victoria Cray playing all 40 minutes in that game, Dave. Angelique Price playing 38 minutes for the Dolphins. The Dolphins getting outscored in bench points in that game, Dave, 19-0. And, that's been certainly a problem for this Dolphin team this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you mentioned, too, against the game against Lehman, they were outscored in the paint 44-28, and that, of course, a direct result also of Rosa Perone not being in the lineup. But, yeah, Mike, I think you're right. I think the fact that, a lot of these Dolphin starters go 35 to 40 minutes, on a usual night. Maybe they get a little bit of a break when they're playing weaker opponents, like, for instance, this John Jay team, Medgar Evers. We've seen them take, some chunks of minutes off. But there's a tremendous amount put on the shoulders of Passatoro, Flecker, Cray, and Price. And, it's trickled down from there. And, it's one thing, Mike, when you're playing teams that don't play as up-tempo as you. But when it comes to playing teams like Brooklyn and Lehman, they are just as fast. They are just as up-tempo as you are. And when you're, dragging yourself up and down the floor for 40 minutes, that takes a tremendous amount. And then to couple that with the fact that you're also being asked to shoot the basketball, rebound the basketball, it's really tough. There's no question any one of these CSI players, and Tim Shanahan will tell you, that's what this team is built for. That's what they relish. That's what they like to do. But at the same time, just the realistic elements of how teams play just tells you that over the course of a 40-minute game, teams are just going to get fatigued. And those games against tight competition, it's those final minutes, those last 4, 5, 6 minutes that really determine who wins and who loses.
And Dave, this is a CSI Dolphin team that went into the last 2 games allowing just about 56, 57 points a game. That net average now up to 60 because Brooklyn was able to score 83 points, and then Lehman came back with 79. So, that's something the Dolphins really need to get back to, and that's playing that really tight defensive play.
Yeah, that's their bread and butter, Mike. The Dolphins this season are a plus 7.9 in the turnover column. But if you look at the stats, Mike, anytime that they out-turnover their teams by 10 or more, CSI is very, very tough to defeat. I don't have their exact numbers in front of me, but I think at last count, they were something like 15-1 in their last 16 games when they've been a plus 10 or more in the turnover column. That's their bread and butter. That's what they love to do. That leads to easy transition points the other way. And if the Dolphins are successful, that's what they're going to have to do in this tournament. Mike, part of that 15-1 mark that I just mentioned included both games against John Jay this season, where John Jay averaged about 33 turnovers in each of those games. So that's going to be the Dolphins' calling card. We'll see if they can call on that here tonight.
Yeah, and the Dolphins won both of those games by more than 30 points. Dave didn't allow 50 points in either of them, and scored 79 and 82 points respectively in both those games. So Dolphins coming in as a strong favorite here this afternoon as we get set to have the national anthem. Why don't we step aside? We'll take a break here for a minute, and then we'll be back and we'll bring you the starting lineups and the opening tip between the second round game between the College of Staten Island and John Jay College as you're watching women's basketball coverage right here on CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com.
We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you?
You know you do.
Yeah, but I don't know where to start. That's why we're here. We're free, handsome,
I think we're breathtaking.
and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. I got this. Is that Bran? Colleges love extracurricular activities.
Chess really isn't my thing.
I got this. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. Picking a college, man. You and us go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Fire and ice.
Those don't really go together. Go to GetSchooled.com for more info.
We're back, and we're just moments away from the start of this second-round game between the College of Staten Island and John Jay College. The College of Staten Island coming in with a 19-6 record overall, including 13-3 in the conference, but dropped their final 2 games, so they're now participating in this second-round game here this afternoon. And while the players are being introduced out on the floor, why don't we bring you the starting lineups for tonight's game? And here to bring you those starting lineups, my broadcast partner, Dave Pizzuto. Dave?
All right, thank you, Mike. For John Jay, they will go with 4 guards and 1 true forward in the lineup. In numerical order, 00, Caitlin Kohler. Number 3 is Claire Prince. Number 11, Shalia Ruiz. Cassandra Taylor, number 15, is the lone forward, and number 21, Dana Nicholson, is their final guard. John Jay comes in with a record of 5-21, and of course the winners over York College in their CUNY opening round game. For CSI, they will go with Christina Passaturo, the CUNYAC Player of the Year. It was announced just yesterday. Also in the backcourt, Angelique Price and Victoria Cray. And then Samantha Flecker and Rosa Perrone in the front court. As Mike mentioned, Rosa back after sitting out the final game of the season against Lehman College, back on the floor in a starting role here tonight.
Yeah, you know, Dave, the College of Staten Island coming in, as we mentioned, a pretty strong favorite here this afternoon, Dave, having defeated John Jay twice prior. And, you know, usually, Dave, this is the kind of game that you want to try to avoid. You really don't want to have to play in this play-in game. You always have an opportunity to get picked off anytime that you have to play. But the way the Dolphins played down the stretch, this might be a good thing for them to get on the floor this afternoon.
Yeah, and then you got to couple it with the fact, Mike, too, that not only did they lose their last 2 games, but they also had a CUNY bye in the final regular season slot of the year. So while every other CUNY school was playing earlier this week, Dolphins naturally had off. So if the Dolphins, much like the CSI men's team that we'll talk about a little bit later on, if they were to have secured the first seed, they would have had 11 days off between games. So maybe this game isn't the worst thing for the Dolphins. Of course, Mike, knock on wood, the Dolphins can win this one and get out of here injury-free. I think that is another big key. We mentioned how, you know, at this stage of the season, fatigue starts to play a factor, bodies start to break down. The Dolphins, of course, have been very fortunate this year. They've stayed away from the injury bug. Lena Batar is still out for the Dolphins injury-wise, but they were able to get Jackie Calley back. Other than that, Dolphins have been pretty injury-free all season. Let's hope they keep it that way.
And the opening tip, and it'll be Passatore with the basketball. She feeds it ahead of the field to Price, and she lays it up and in. Good start for the Dolphins.
Yeah, Price has enjoyed a pretty good season this year, Mike, just averaging just under 12 points per game. She's really come on as the Dolphins' true number 3 scoring threat, behind, obviously, Passatoro and Flecker.
And the Dolphins coming out immediately, David, showing a full-court press. 11 seconds into this game, the Dolphins with a quick 2-0 lead. As we have a little bit of a delay in the game, and we're about to get underway. Put the shot clock down to 28 as the Dolphins do a nice job pressuring the inbounds, and it's Taylor with the basketball, but John Jay turns it over for the first time, and Cray lays it up and in. And, you know, Dave, that's not the kind of start you're looking for if you're the Bloodhounds.
Yeah, you know what? Last time they played here at the Sports and Recreation Center, Mike, John Jay had 33 turnovers in that game, a game in which they shot 35%, which is, actually about 4 percentage points or 40 percentage points higher than their season average.
Yeah, this is a Bloodhound team that's averaged under 50 points a game. Is the first Bloodhound shot is up and a miss. Perot controls the rebound. She feeds it to Cray. Flecker gets it over to Price, and her layup is going to be up and no good. But she's going to draw a foul on the play. So Dolphins off to a very quick start here in this first minute.
Yeah, and you could see very clearly the difference in team speed. This is where the Dolphins will have to adjust if they're able to come out of this quarterfinal win for the remainder of the week. But they definitely have the speed advantage, Mike, and of course it leads to turnovers, but it also leads to fouls the other way because John Jay severely out of position.
So Price's first free throw is no good. She'll have one more upcoming. As that foul was called on Ruiz, that's her first. And the Bloodhounds will look to inbound the basketball. Once again, the Dolphins putting a lot of pressure on that Bloodhound team as it's Prince with the basketball. She feeds it up across the midcourt. And now John Jay looks to set up offensively as it's Ruiz. She feeds it over. And the long three-pointer by Nicholson is good.
Yeah, Nicholson is second on the team, 9.3 points per game. And for Nicholson, that was her 62nd three-pointer of the year, well above anybody else on the team.
So the Bloodhounds get right back into the game and now trail by a score of 5-3 as Passatoro feeds it over to Flecker. Flecker backing the ball out now, back up over to Passatoro. Inside to Perone, her layup is up, no good. The ball tipped around, and it'll be the Bloodhounds coming away with the basketballs. That's Ruiz. Ruiz feeding it up to Cola. Cola working it up over to Taylor, and her long three-pointer is good. So Taylor banks it up and in, and the Bloodhounds on a 6-0 run to take a 6-5 lead.
Yeah, John Jay 2 for 2 from beyond the arc.
Passatoro's jumper is good, and that'll be her first basket for the CUNYAC Player of the Year, Dave.
Yeah, she's having a remarkable season. Mike leads the nation in three-pointers made.
As that long three-pointer is no good, and Price grabs the rebound. Price dribbling it down the floor. Flecker now back up over to Passatoro. She fakes the three-pointer, drives inside. She kicked the ball out, but it'll go out of bounds, and that'll be the Dolphins' first turnover, and it'll be Bloodhound basketball.
Yeah, it looked like it got off of her hands, kind of slipped out. She had a couple of options on that play.
As the Bloodhounds throw the ball out of bounds, so they'll commit their second turnover, and it'll be Dolphin basketball, leading by a score of 7-6.
Yeah, Shalia Ruiz went really hard into the John Jay bench, knocked over a couple of chairs, so she's okay, walking around there, So
it'll be the Dolphins to inbound the basketball here as Cray lobs it inside to Perone. Perone's shot will be up, no good, but we'll have a whistle, and that will be a foul on the play, and that's going to be on Cassandra Taylor. And that was a tough call on Taylor inside, Dave.
Yeah, Taylor, the team leader in blocks, well, actually third on the team in blocks with 10, almost got her 11th there. What had some nice position, but got a little bit too much of Rose's forearm, but Perone misses the first of two.
The Dolphins coming into today's game shooting just 63% from the free throw line, just 1 of 3. And those missed free throws, Dave, were a factor in both the Brooklyn College and Lehman College game.
Oh, absolutely, Mike. In that game against Brooklyn, they were 5 out of 6 from the first quarter to the third quarter. They went 3 for 13 in the fourth quarter alone, and that was a big, big difference.
So it is now the Bloodhounds with the basketball, trailing 7-6 as they try to work the ball inside, but we're going to have a whistle and a foul along the baseline. That will be on Perone, and that will be her first and the Dolphins' first. So the Bloodhounds to inbound the basketball. As the nice pass inside to Taylor, her shot is up, no good, and Perone goes up high to grab the rebound for the Dolphins. 2 quick rebounds for Perone here in the early going as the ball gets fed inside to Cray. She lays it up and in and draws the foul. And, Dave, this is a Bloodhound team very short on the bench, and that's going to be the second personal foul now on Shayla Ruiz.
Yeah, absolutely. And, John Jay only with a couple of players dressed on their bench, so that will immediately spring number 44, Uju Nwange, into the game.
And Ruiz averaging 7.2 points and nearly 5.5 rebounds a game, Dave. That's a big personal foul, not even 3 minutes into the first quarter.
Yeah, absolutely, as CSI was able to get another turnover there but not convert.
Now they force another turnover as Price feeds it over to Passatoro. Now it'll be Cray. Her baseline jumper is good.
Yeah, CSI feeling it from the floor here, Mike, in the early stages. They're 5 of 7 from the field.
They've now doubled up the Bloodhounds, 12-6. They're in the middle of a 5-0 run to open their lead to 6. As the Bloodhounds bring the ball up, that's Taylor. Taylor looking to work against Flecker. Her long three-pointer goes in and out. But inside to grab the rebound that time is Uwaje, but she can't convert, and here comes Passatoro. Passatoro driving down the lane, but she draws the foul.
Yeah, and that time, number 3, Claire Prince, with no choice but to grab Passatoro. And now John Jay with their 4th team foul, so CSI 1 away from the bonus.
Dolphins lead by 6 now, 12-6. As now it's Flecker, and her short jumper is up, no good. And the Bloodhounds grab the rebound and get the ball up over to Cola. Now Prince will bring the ball up on the far side of the floor. She backs it to Cray, no foul. And now we're going to have a whistle, and a foul's going to be called on Cray as she kind of collided into her, Dave, after she got bumped first.
Yeah, and it will be called against Cray, who was kind of backpedaling against Prince. So for the Dolphins, it's their second personal and the first on Cray.
So it'll be the Bloodhounds to inbound the basketball, as now it's Prince working the ball into the corner now. Nicholson feeding the ball back out over to Prince. Now Taylor. Taylor, the leading scorer for the Bloodhounds, looking to work her way along the baseline. Now feeds it up over to Prince. Her baseline jumper is no good. Perot can't grab the rebound, but it'll be last touched by Prince, so it will be Dolphin basketball.
Yeah, and head coach Tim Shanahan, the CUNY Coach of the Year, it was announced on Thursday, has a lot to say to the officials there. Maybe wanted an offensive foul.
So now it'll be Cray over to Flecker. Flecker out to pass to Toro, now over to Price. Her long three-pointer is up, no good. And the rebound's going to be grabbed now by Cola. Bloodhounds bring the ball up across the floor quickly as Taylor tried to go inside. Flecker knocks the ball away nicely, and the Bloodhounds turn the ball over once again. That's 5 turnovers already for John Jay.
Yeah, but CSI unfortunately giving it right back. That's Passaturo's second turnover here in the early stages, as the Dolphins will have their first substitution check in. Jackie Cali replacing Perone.
And looking at the numbers early here, Dave, Dolphins outscoring the Bloodhounds 6-0 in the paint, a big turnaround from that Lehman College game earlier this week.
Yeah, and a couple of those via the fast break too, and off of turnovers and rather easy layups.
Taylor tried to drive inside, but she loses the possession. The ball swiped away, and now it'll be Flecker. Flecker driving it coast to coast. She lays it up and in and draws the foul. And, you know, that's a couple of times, Dave, that the Bloodhounds have committed kind of really careless fouls, you know, fouls that you really can't afford to commit, especially when you have so few players on the bench.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we said in the opening, Mike. Because the Dolphins play fast and because they use turnovers as their calling card, they're then able to, you know, stretch the floor and go the other way for easier transition baskets. Those are another couple of points in the paint, Mike, and the Dolphins got it off the fast break and turnover.
So the Dolphin run now up to 8-0, and they lead by 9, 15-6. It's their biggest lead of the game as we approach the midway point here in the first quarter, and it'll be the Bloodhounds to inbound the basketball.
For John Jay, they hit 2 of their first 3 shots, both 3-pointers, and since then have gone quiet.
So the Bloodhounds now feed the ball up over to Nicholson. Now it's going to be Prince. Nuaje. Now Prince, her baseline shot is no good, and the rebound controlled by the Dolphins as they look to run once again. And the feed inside to Flecker, it's going to be no good, but we're going to have a whistle. And now that's going to be, Dave, the second personal foul for Dana Nicholson. So already 2 Bloodhounds with 2 personal fouls. And the Bloodhounds are going to take a timeout here. And it's going to be a 30-second timeout. So let's keep it right here, Dave. 6 team fouls already on the Bloodhounds, and 2 of their starters already with 2 personal fouls.
Yeah, and they only have 7 players here. They have 1 in street clothes as well. So this is a thin team as it is. And when you start adding the fact that fouls are going to be in trouble, you know, are going to cause trouble, then, you know, John Jay's going to be in for a long afternoon. So Linda Day wants to discuss it. This is her first year at John Jay, taking over the program, looking to plant the seeds for a winner. And her team down by 9 here, Mike. And, you know, we've seen this before where the Dolphins have gotten off to big leads. The first quarter, Mike, has been easily their best quarter of the season.
And Dave, to give you an update from Hunter College, Hunter trailing CCNY early with just under 4 minutes remaining by a score of 12-6. And, you know, that CCNY team has some players, Dave, and they've gotten out to an early lead.
Yeah, and they're 6.5 minutes in, Mike, like you mentioned. And, you know, that CCNY team, the longer the games go on and the lower scoring it is, it benefits them because they like that slow, methodical defensive game.
So now it's going to be John Jay with the basketball as they look to try to see if they can get some points off the timeout. They are now trailing by a score of 16-6 as the Dolphins have a double-digit lead as they've been on a 9-0 run. And now Uwaji is going to drive inside, Dave, and she's going to pick up the personal foul, so yet another turnover for the Bloodhounds.
Yeah, I thought maybe that she might have been guilty of a travel there as opposed to an offensive foul, but all the same in the Dolphins' eyes, it goes down as a turnover regardless. It's the 7th one of the game for John Jay, and their 7th foul.
As Passatoro puts up the long three-pointer, that's going to be no good. The players crash the boards, and it's going to be Bloodhound basketball.
Passatoro 4 3-pointers away from 100 on the year. She's averaging just under 40%. Mike, at one time she was at about 42%, but since then has cooled off a little bit.
As the Bloodhounds turn the ball over once again, now it's Price. Gets worked in the corner to Passatoro. Her three-pointer is up and no good. And Christina struggled a little bit with her shooting in that Lehman College game. Looking to bounce back here in the CUNYAC tournament after picking up the CUNYAC Player of the Year just yesterday, wasn't it, Dave?
Thursday, yeah.
Passatoro looking to drive inside, and we're going to have a blocking foul called on the play. That will be on the Bloodhounds. That will be on Kohler. So now she has a personal foul as well.
Yeah, that time Kohler kind of struggling her feet as she's trying to play defense, backpedaling against Passatoro. And Mike, here's the other aspect of the Dolphins game that needs to improve right now. Only 4 of 8 from the line so far here in the first. Passatoro looking to put 2 in here.
So Passatoro now goes to the free throw line, and our first free throw is up and in. So the Dolphins continue now in the middle, Dave, of a 12-0 run. The Bloodhounds have not scored in nearly 5 minutes, and the Dolphins have opened this lead up to 11. Passatoro's second free throw is up and good. So now it's a 13-0 run for the Dolphins. Dolphins looking to press in the backcourt, but a nice job by Prince. Prince looking to take it coast to coast. Her layup will be up and no good, but she will draw the foul on the play.
Yeah, Claire Prince only averages 5.4 points per game, Mike, but she had a good game against the Dolphins when they played here at the Sports and Rec Center. 14 points in that game, kind of her breakout game of the year. And she gets her first here of this game.
So that's going to break a 13-0 Dolphin run and cut the Dolphin lead now down to 11. That second shot is up, no good. The Bloodhounds there to grab the rebound, but the Bloodhounds now have missed their last 8 shots as Price goes in and lays it up and in.
Another point, another couple of points in the paint, another one off the fast break.
And the Dolphins now with a lead back up to 13 as it's Taylor. Taylor driving her way inside. That shot is up, no good. The putback is up, no good. And we're going to have a whistle and a foul, and that's going to be called on
Wange, it looked like.
Yeah, and if it is, and it is, Dave, that's going to be her second. So yet another Bloodhound with 2 personal fouls.
Yeah, and the other one is Nicholson, who's still on the floor.
So now 3 Bloodhounds with 2 personal fouls. Still 3 minutes remaining here in the first quarter. And it'll be Nicole and Bessie going to the free throw line for the Dolphins. And her first is up and in.
And Nwange does come out. And Kohler comes in. But John Jay still with 2 players on the floor with 2 fouls. Nicholson and Ruiz, who had checked back in.
And Bessie coming in, one of the better free throw shooters on the Dolphins at 75%. As she hits both, and the Dolphins now have their biggest lead of the game. It's 15, 22-7. Dolphins look to press, and it's Taylor getting the ball across the midcourt line now. Ruiz playing with 2 fouls, and the pass is going to be stolen away by Mbessi, and here come the Dolphins running once again as Passatoro drove down the lane. It's going to be knocked away, but it'll remain Dolphin basketball.
Passatoro wanted a foul there, didn't get it, but we'll get the benefits of possession here with 25 on the shot clock. And Mike, John Jay now up to 10 turnovers here in the first 7.5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, 10 turnovers already and 9 personal fouls as that long three-pointer by Flecker is up and in. And Flecker now has 7, and the Dolphins continue to open up their biggest lead of the game.
I thought she had 10, Mike, but Okay, I guess she has 7.
As that shot is up, no good, and Price grabs the rebound, and it's a whistle and another foul on the Bloodhounds. And that's going to be on Prince. So the Bloodhounds really getting themselves, Dave, in very early foul trouble.
Yeah, that's now her second as well. So now John Jay with 3 players on the floor with 2+ fouls. And Price will go to the line. Sorry, Mike.
So, the Bloodhounds now, Dave, with 10 personal fouls in 7.5 minutes of play. The Dolphins with just 3. And they now have a 19-point lead as the Bloodhounds have really struggled to score, Dave, as the Dolphins continue to open this game up here early as Price hits both of her free throws. And the run now, Dave, is 22-1 to open up a 27-7 lead.
Yeah, and in that span, ooh, here we go, another turnover. That's the 11th.
And we're going to have a whistle and a foul on Kohler, and the Bloodhounds are a little frustrated, Dave. And you know, on the one hand, I can't blame them. They have 11 personal fouls, but on the other, a lot of these have been really careless fouls on their part.
And that's no question a foul there. I mean, I know John Jay's asking for the offensive, but Passaturo's got position. She's going straight up for the shot. She just completely gets hacked going up, and that's definitely a foul. And frustrating, Mike, because you know John Jay only has 13 shots taken in the game. They've got 11 turnovers and 11 fouls. And by my count, Mike, they're 0 for their last 10 from the floor. So, you know, put all that together, you look at the scoreboard, Dolphins are up by 22, and we still have 2 left in the first quarter.
Yeah, and, you know, the Bloodhounds have only been able to put up, as that long three-pointer is going to be up and no good. But they've only scored, Dave, 1 point here in this first quarter. Since the 8-minute and 28-second, that's nearly 6.5 minutes, just a single point. And, you know, the way the Dolphins score offensively, Dave, you just can't compete the way they've been turning the ball over here in this first quarter.
Yeah, and the Dolphins, you know, in contrast, have only turned the ball over twice. So already the Dolphins are +9 in that category. And I thought John Jay actually missed their first basket of the game, but they actually made their first 2, both three-pointers. Since then, 0 for 12.
Yeah, so the Jackie Callie checks into the game and lays it up and in. So she gets a couple of bench points for the Dolphins there, Dave, as the Dolphins already with 4 bench points here today, 4 more than they had in the game against Lehman.
Yeah, and a 30-second timeout called this time by CSI as they want to clean up a spill in the on the floor, and also John Jay players a little frustrated there. Knocking down a couple of chairs on their bench. They are extremely frustrated at this point, Mike, and perhaps deservedly so. They're down by 24 here. It's getting late awful early. Remember, Mike, you've brought it up a couple of times. They've only averaged 49 points per game. The Dolphins are 3/4 of the way there, and we're not even 9 minutes in.
Yeah, Dave, you know, that spells trouble for the Bloodhounds here early in this first quarter, and a little bit closer game at Hunter, but, you know, a nice job by CCNY. They already lead 22-14 as they're getting good offensive production in the game against Hunter and playing good defense as well, are the Beavers.
Yeah, that's a game that has potential, Mike, to go right down to the final couple of minutes. CCNY had all sorts of trouble getting Medgar Evers out of the tournament, but perhaps a little bit fresher, Mike, a little bit more pep in their step. Hunter's now been off for a few days, so we'll see if the Hawks can find their offense there. But CCNY right now up by 8 in the second quarter.
Yeah, sophomore guard Deborah Chan has 8 points already for the Beavers as they go on the road and lead by 8. And you know, Hunter College and doesn't really score the basketball that well either, Dave, as that three-pointer by Passatoro is up no good. So CCNY getting themselves in good early position as the Bloodhounds see, Dave, if they can get their 3rd basket here in this first quarter.
Yeah, 0 for their last 12 from the floor. They've got 12 turnovers as well.
As that long shot that time up by Nicholson is no good, and Passatoro grabs the rebound, feeds it ahead to Flecker. As Flecker got crashed into as the ball was fed down, and I think it was Taylor, Dave, really got right underneath Flecker. That was a very hard collision between those two players, and Flecker up on her feet, but Taylor still down on the floor, shaken up with just under a minute to go, 54 seconds here in this first quarter, and Dolphins blowing this one open early, Dave, leading by a score of 31-7.
Yeah, it's good to see Cassandra getting up. She is John Jay's leading scorer as well, but she's going to have a seat on the bench and kind of get herself together. She caught the worst end of that, Mike, because Samantha had to go up and receive that ball and kind of came down on top of Taylor as well with plenty of steam. And so Taylor now with her head in her hands, kind of between her legs on the bench, and we'll keep our eye on her as we're going to get our first look from number 1, Sarah Panakia will come in.
And, Taylor scores about a third of the Bloodhound points, Dave, so that's really a big blow if she can't really come back and start to play right again as the Dolphins continue to open this lead, as now Flecker gets her 8th point of the game here. She's now 3 of 4 from the line.
And Mike, the Dolphins are 14 of 18 from the free throw line. They've made their last 10.
Yeah, so they're playing well here this afternoon, and really making this one, putting this one out of reach early here this afternoon, Dave, and leading by 26. A game that they led by a score of 7-6, Dave. But since then, it's been all CSI Dolphins. If the Bloodhounds have not hit a shot since there was over 8 minutes left here in this first quarter.
Yeah, and it's been all CSI here ever since the first couple of minutes where John Jay hit their first 2 baskets of the game. And we'll have a quick foul on Nicole and Bessie, who was preventing Nicholson from getting space. And, Mike, when you're up by 26 and you have only 30 seconds left in the first quarter, obviously the goal from here on in is obviously to preserve the lead, but also, to stay sharp and not, let the doldrums kind of set in either, because it's very easy to kind of take your foot off the gas and lose some focus, lose some poise. And if you're Tim Shanahan, now the goal becomes how do you stay sharp and stay crisp for the final 30 minutes.
So it'll be in Bessie to inbound the basketball, now over to Passatoro, and now an opportunity for the Dolphins to take the last shot.
And for Passatoro, a chance to find her shot a little bit, Mike. 1 for 4 and 0 for 3 from three-point range so far.
So Dave Price driving down the lane. She lays it up and in, but the Bloodhounds still have time left on the clock. Price feeding the ball ahead to Cola. The Bloodhounds had a little bit more time, but put up the shot, and that's going to do it, Dave, as the Dolphins able to close out that first half on really exploding on a 30-1 run, Dave, as they're able to take a 35-7 lead after 1 quarter.
Yeah, so, all one-sided, Mike. Go ahead.
So 1 quarter in the books. Why don't we step aside, take a break. We'll be back with second quarter action. You're watching basketball coverage right here on your voice of CSI Sports, CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com.
You make me wear my bike helmet. You taught me never to run with scissors.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt. And to follow the swimming rules.
You're always looking out for me and trying to keep me safe.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
Here in the garage.
Closet. Shoebox. Under the bed.
Where anyone can get to it. How safe is that?
How safe is that?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. If you own a firearm and are not using it, please be responsible.
We're back, second quarter underway, and the Dolphins have taken control of this game early here, Dave, in this first half.
Yeah, now the question is the Dolphins stay sharp, stay healthy, not risk any kind of injuries, and, continue to play relatively well.
As that long shot is up and in, and that time Price gets on the board a long two-pointer. She now has 12, Dave, to lead all scorers.
That's right. She's shooting 4 or 5 from the floor, Mike, and that was her first 3, so nice job by Price.
As that jumper is up, no good, and we're going to have a whistle, and it's going to be a loose ball foul called on the Dolphins. And that foul is going to be called on Angelique Price, and that's going to be her first personal of the afternoon.
Yeah, and that was the story of the first half, Michael. All the fouls that were called, and John Jay getting their first field goal since 8:17 of the first quarter, and they're able to cut the lead to 29.
So Ruiz drives inside, as now it's in Bessie. Her baseline jumper is up, no good. The ball tipped around, and it's going to come down into the hands of Taylor, who's checked back into the game for the Bloodhounds. Pass over to Ruiz. Ruiz out at the three-point line, and that three-pointer is good.
Yeah, so Ruiz joins Taylor and Nicholson as three-point shooters here tonight. John Jay, like the first quarter, Mike, successful in their first 2 field goals.
As Price drives baseline, her shot is up, no good. The ball is tipped around, fight for the rebound, and it's going to be Ruiz to grab the basketball, and now we're going to have a jump ball.
I think it should be John Jay basketball. Yeah, it does.
It is, so it'll be Bloodhound basketball now as they try to creep their way back into this game here early in the second quarter.
Yeah, the scores table had the arrow the wrong way, and now they get it right as they'll have a substitution.
So Nawaji is going to check back into the game, and you look up at that scoreboard, Dave. 4 Bloodhound players out on the floor now with 2 personal fouls.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Dolphins had 18 free throws in that first quarter. John Jay needs to keep CSI off the free throw line.
Prince with the basketball now in the center of the floor, feeds it up over to Cola. Her long three-pointer is up, no good. Nice play by Flecker to tip the ball, and here comes the Dolphins looking to run once again as Price drives down the lane and lays it up and in.
Price now 5 of 8 from the floor, 14 points, Mike. Really having a sensational first half.
Yeah, she's been scoring very well here for the Dolphins, and we're going to have a whistle and a foul out on the floor. That will be called on the Dolphins. That will be their second personal here in this, or second team foul here in this second quarter, as Bessie picks up her second foul.
Yeah, so she becomes the first Dolphin to pick up more than 1 foul, as we have definitely a offensive illegal screen set up by John Jay. So another turnover for John Jay, Mike. That's their 14th.
So not only does Prince get run over on the play, Dave, she picks up a 3rd personal foul for the Bloodhounds.
Yeah, there's no question she was moving on that screen attempt, and that's a good foul call that time.
As the Bloodhounds continue to struggle with turnovers here in this first half. In Bessie, Price, Callie, but she's going to get called for the travel as the Dolphins turn the ball over for just the 4th time here this afternoon.
And Jackie Callie just way too unselfish on that play. I mean, she's there. She gets the ball, 5 feet away from the hoop, Mike, with nobody even near her, and that little stutter step to try and find somebody else to pass to cost the Dolphins the possession there, and Callie would do well just to let it go there.
Passatoro's long three-pointer is up, no good, but Flecker is there to grab the rebound for the Dolphins. That's going to be Samantha's first rebound of the afternoon as it gets worked in the corner, and she hits the baseline jumper. Now Flecker in double digits as well, Dave. She has 11.
Yeah, and that time Callie with a player in her face able to dish off to Flecker. So a nice bit of ball movement for the Dolphins, who get themselves another possession via the turnover.
Passatoro now will back the ball out on the floor as the Dolphins have broken this game open, now leading by 30. Callie's jumper from just outside the free throw line is up and in, so Callie with her second basket of the afternoon.
Yeah, and John Jay now with 3 turnovers. Their last 3 times they've touched the ball, make that 4, Mike. So they are up to 18 turnovers.
Yeah, Dave, it's just impossible when you struggle to shoot to begin with, as we'll have a full timeout. So why don't we leave it right here and take a break? 7 minutes even remaining here in this first half. Dolphins lead 44-12. You're watching CUNYAC women's basketball tournament coverage right here on your voice of CSI Sports, CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com. We're back, 7 minutes even remaining here in this first half. All CSI Dolphins as they lead by a score of 44-12, and they will get to inbound the basketball once again.
Yep. Mike, I know we've mentioned it before, but the winner of this game will play Lehman College on Tuesday, 8 o'clock at CCNY, as Callie picks up another bucket right from the free throw line to extend CSI's lead.
As the Bloodhounds look to come right back as driving down the lane, but getting called for the travel will be Claire Prince. So the senior will turn the ball over, and it'll be Dolphin basketball once again. Just 19 shots here for the Bloodhounds. 19 shots, 19 turnovers for John Jay here this afternoon.
And now we have a foul that's going to be called on Prince, so that's now her third, Mike. 3 fouls on Claire Prince since the second team foul called against John Jay here in this quarter.
So it'll be the Dolphins to inbound the basketball, as in Bessie has the ball now for the Dolphins. She's on the floor with Passatoro, Callie Flecker, and Angelique Price for the Dolphins, as they have the basketball with 15 seconds remaining on the shot clock, as Passatoro puts up the long three-pointer and buries it. That's her first three-pointer here this afternoon in 5 attempts.
Yeah, it's got to feel good for her, Mike. You know, finally getting one. She's had a couple that went, halfway down and bounced out. But Christina, who's 4 for 4 from the free throw line, now 2 for 6 from the field goal range.
Prince with the basketball now. Hands it off to Taylor. Taylor looking to drive her way inside. That shot is up. No good. The ball tipped around, and it comes down into the hands of Flecker. Flecker with the basketball now, feeds it out over to Passatoro, who will back the ball out, and Dolphins will run a little bit of shot clock here. Callie feeding it inside to Flecker, who lays it up and in. Nice play that time by the Dolphins.
Yeah, perfectly timed pass by Callie, who's had a couple of them now, and Samantha Flecker able to hit once again from down low. She's 4 for 6 from the floor tonight and has 13 points.
So it's now the Bloodhounds with the basketball, as that's going to be Prince with 15 on the shot clock. She feeds the ball inside, and the layup that time by Nuaji is up and in. Her first basket of the afternoon.
Yeah, and John Jay's 5th field goal of the game as well.
Passatoro lobbing it now over to Callie at the free throw line, extended. Now it's in Bessie, back up over to Callie. As Dolphins work the ball around the perimeter. Flecker puts up the long three-pointer. That will be no good, but it'll be knocked out of bounds. Last touched by the Dolphins, so it'll be Bloodhound basketball.
Perone and Nahada Bracic will come in for the Dolphins. I think this is our first look from Nahada here in this game, as Perone is able to substitute out Price and Callie.
So it'll be the Bloodhounds to inbound the basketball now, as it's going to be Cola, but her pass is going to be stolen away by Flecker as the Dolphins get it ahead quickly to Passatoro. Her shot is going to be up and no good, but now Cola is going to pick up her 3rd personal foul as well.
Yeah, and you know what, Mike? Passatoro, at one point the Dolphins were 4 of 8 from the line, and then Passatoro went on the line and made 2 in a row. And since then, the Dolphins have shot 10 free throws in a row. I know I just jinxed them. There we go.
There you go, Dave. One more upcoming.
Still, you had to say that because, this is a Dolphins team that, tends to, make a bunch in a row. And sometimes they get really cold from the free throw line. But, when Christina Passatoro especially is hitting on all cylinders from the free throw line, the CSI Dolphins team is a tough team because she hurts you from outside, but she also has the ability, Mike, to penetrate, get to the line, and hurt you from there as well.
So the ball is going to go out of bounds, and we're going to have a foul, and it's going to be another foul on John Jay, and that's going to be a foul on Claire Prince, and she's now got 4, Dave, and the Bloodhounds are really in foul trouble now.
And one of their players, Ruiz, who's on the bench, has 2, so they bring in number 1, Sarah Panakia, who's the only Bloodhound not to have a foul in this game. But Linda Day is furious on the John Jay College sideline. And, maybe with some good reason that time. Looked like 2 Dolphins putting pressure, and instead the foul went against Prince.
Yeah, and the Bloodhounds, who came in with such a short bench to begin with, As
Now,
we're going to have a whistle, and now it'll be an offensive foul on the Dolphins. And for Nicole and Bessie, Dave, that will be her third personal.
yeah, and when was the last time you said that Nicole and Bessie was in foul trouble, especially in the first half? This is a young lady who rarely gets called for any fouls in a game, and here she's picked up 3, and she'll have to come out here. Nicole and Bessie with only 29 fouls called against her in 411 minutes.
So now it's going to be the Bloodhounds with the basketball as Nicholson puts up the long three-pointer, and she hits her second three-pointer of the game for the Bloodhounds.
Yeah, John Jay has more three-pointers than they do two-pointers in this game, Mike.
As now it's DeMontre with the basketball as she's checked into the game for the Dolphins along with Bracic, Perone, Flecker, and Passatoro. Dolphins handling control of this one as Perone's pass nearly stolen away, but a nice job by Flecker as the Dolphins, it's a strange call, Dave. It looks like they're going to get called for an offensive kick ball.
Yeah, it looked like Samantha Flecker, while she was trying to pick it up, it may have hit off of her shoe, and they called it a kick ball, and that will give possession back to John Jay.
As it's now the Bloodhounds with the basketball. As Ruiz gets the ball across the midcourt line, picked up there by Bracic. And Dave, in that Lehman College game, the Dolphins hardly used any bench players at all in that game for hardly any minutes. And here today, an opportunity certainly for some of those other players to get some playing time.
Yeah, you mentioned Nahada Bracic this season averaging just 4 points per game. But, Mike, she's one of those players in the first game against Lehman this season on the road. She had 15 points. So this is a young lady who can come off the bench and really, when her shot is on, she can really be a difference maker. And she's really cooled off here, Mike. The second half of the season has been used very sparingly. But Dolphins are hoping for some big things from Nahada. And she's getting some valuable minutes here. And we'll see how that translates, Mike, the rest of the week. The Dolphins hope it'll be a long week. And it'll start on Tuesday against Lehman if they're able to hold on here, which we think that they might be able to.
Yeah, and Dave, the Dolphins came in, really expecting some performance out of Nahada this year, especially from the three-point line. And, she started out a little bit hot, and like you mentioned, Dave, it seemed like as the season went along, she struggled a little bit more with her outside shooting.
Yeah, absolutely, and a little bit hesitant too, Mike, to kind of pull the trigger at times. That's one thing that I've noticed about her game. But, shooters got to shoot, Mike. And, really she just hasn't shot the ball as many times as she did earlier in the season.
And the ball is going to get worked out now by the Bloodhounds with 12 seconds to shoot. As now it's Ruiz. Ruiz out by the three-point line looking to work against Bracic with 5 on the shot clock. She has nowhere to go. A nice feed that time to Nawaji, but she misses the layup. The Bloodhounds get a rare second chance opportunity, but turn the ball over. So it will be Dolphin basketball.
Yeah, and just getting back to Nahada, Mike, there were games early in the season. St. Joe's Brooklyn, she went 5 of 10 from the field. Against York, 3 of 7. Against Lehman, 6 of 12. And you look at the last few games, Mike, she only took 2 shots against Lehman, only took 1 against Brooklyn, didn't take any against Hunter, and really has only made 2 field goals the last 5 games.
So the Dolphins turned the ball over, but the Bloodhounds nearly turned it over once again, and we're going to have a whistle on the play, and it's going to be a foul on Rosa Perone, as Perone will now pick up her second personal. 5 team fouls now for the Dolphins, so the Bloodhounds will have an opportunity to go to the free throw line.
And you know what, Mike, in a game like this, too, and I know the Dolphins are all defense all the time, but I think that they're going maybe a little bit too strong defensively here. I mean, the one thing I'm looking at is, injury-wise. These are plays where when you start having kids, spilling over the floor for a loose ball in a 34-point basketball game with 2 minutes left in the first half against a team that only averages 49 points per game. I mean, Dolphins have to temper themselves a little bit. And I know that that's a foreign concept for, Tim Shanahan and a team that just goes so hard, so fast all the time. But it's one of the things that you really worry about in games like this.
So now it'll be the Dolphins with the basketball as we're inside it. 2 minutes remaining here in the first half, and we're going to have a whistle. And it's going to be an offensive foul, and that's going to be on Rosa Perone. So Perone picks up 2 quick personals, Dave, in the space of about 10 seconds or so, and she has 3 personal fouls. And, you know, Dave, although it won't be a factor in the game here this afternoon, of course, you know, that's something that Rose has struggled with all year long. And, you know, when the Dolphins play Lehman College this Tuesday night, and hopefully they have an opportunity to advance into Friday, they need Rosa Perot out on the floor. She's one of the only players with size that they have, and, you know, she can't afford to pick up 3 personal fouls in this number of limited minutes.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Rosa, though, on that last call. I mean, she didn't really do anything to merit that offensive call. I just looked at it on our replay system here, Mike, and, you know, really all she did was raise her hands and ask for the ball, and she got called there for an offensive. But, you know, that's what happens, Mike, when you're a big target, too. You got a lot of eyes on you underneath, and, you know, sometimes you might make a gesture, and official's going to think that you committed a foul. So that's a drawback to being one of the bigger players in the middle of the court.
You know, Dave, you mentioned the last time the Dolphins played the Bloodhounds, they had 33 turnovers with 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining here in this first half, Dave. 24 turnovers.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we said in the early going too, Mike, is it doesn't matter what level of basketball. I mean, you know, the 6, 7, and 8-year-olds all the way to the NBA. I mean, when you can't take care of the basketball, you are just asking for trouble. And, you know, Dolphins have been on the receiving end of some of those type of games, and here they're the beneficiary.
So it's Taylor putting up the long three-pointer. That's no good. And, you know, the Bloodhounds get an offensive rebound here and a second chance opportunity. But, you know, Dave, Taylor averaging just under 14 points, as we're going to have a whistle and a foul called on the Dolphins. But here this afternoon, she hit her first three-point attempt of the day. She's 0 for 8 since then. And, you know, that's another thing that hasn't gone right for the Bloodhounds here this afternoon.
Yeah, remember, she was the one who got banged up too, Mike, in the first quarter. In that collision with Samantha Flecker, spent some time on the sideline too. So she's still perhaps trying to shake out some of the cobwebs as Nawaji, is at the line. And she had a mismatch underneath, Mike. She was stacked up against Vasaja Watson. That's a 6-inch difference down low. And John Jay took advantage of that trip down the floor.
Yeah, so she hits both of her free throws, and now the Dolphins with the basketball, and about a 7-second differential as a nice play by the Bloodhounds to force the turnover, as it's Nicholson with the basketball, and the shot clock is off. So the Bloodhounds have an opportunity here to hold for the last shot. Taylor looking to work against Flecker now. Under 10 seconds remaining. Taylor working inside. She kicks the ball in the corner. The long shot is up, no good. Nawaji there for the rebound. That putback is no good. And now pass to Toro as the first half expires. All Dolphins in that first half, Dave, as they go into halftime with a 52-21 lead.
Yeah, they got themselves a huge 35-7 lead at the end of the first quarter, Mike, and the Dolphins kind of I don't want to say going through the motions in that second quarter, but continuing to kind of harp on John Jay's inability to handle the basketball well. Dolphins buffer their lead a little bit more. They now have a 31-point advantage. And, Mike, it's going to be awful tough for the Bloodhounds to overcome this disadvantage in the second half. And for the Dolphins, it's about playing crisp basketball and getting themselves ready for Lehman College next week.
So the Dolphins leading this game comfortably. A different story at Hunter College as CCNY leads by 4 at halftime. So we're at halftime as well. We'll step aside, take a break. You're watching CUNYAC second round basketball coverage right here on your voice of CSI Sports, CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably put the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent. We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness. I am a witness. I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
You're not alone, 'cause I'm gonna stand by you.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore. And frustration, a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
You make me wear my bike helmet. Taught me never to run with scissors. And to follow the swimming rules.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
La 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 la, I love you so. I love you, I love you. La 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 la, la 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 la.
We're here.
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
A full life measured in seats starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Oh! Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
We're back here at halftime where the College of Staten Island leads this game by a score of 52-21. You know, Dave, it's been a game that Hunter College was able to hit their first two baskets, actually grab a 6-5 lead, but you know, since then, just too much CSI Dolphins.
Yeah, and this was a game, Mike, we said it on paper that the Dolphins were a pretty big favorite. They won the regular season games by 35 and 30 points respectively, and they're already up over that, 31 points here at halftime. A first quarter, Mike, that was just all Dolphins from the 8-minute and an 8.5-minute mark on. And you know, again, for John Jay, this was a team that was probably overmatched on paper coming in. So this game is a question of, you know, building some blocks for the future. And for the Dolphins, it's all about getting themselves mentally and physically prepared for what should be a huge showdown on Tuesday against Lehman College at CCNY. Mike, a place where they notoriously have not played well. They'll have to play a Lightning team there. And the Dolphins really looking to get out of the semifinals for the first time in 10 years. It's hard to believe that the Dolphins have not played in a championship since 2006, now 11 years removed. But that's been the elusive dream for this Dolphins team. A lot of these girls on this team were we're back in the first, second grade when the last time that happened. So Dolphins have bigger things in mind. We'll see if they can get there.
And Dave, just to update you from Hunter College, CCNY, who had led in the first half by as many as 9 points, went into halftime with a 4-point lead. Hunter College was able to tie the score up at 35, but a 3-point play by Erica Richards, a three-pointer, I should say, has re-given CCNY the lead 38-35. So it looks like that's going to be an exciting game in the second half.
Yeah, and what's nice for us, Mike, is that it looks like that game will probably be over by the time this game is getting ready to be over, as they're already closing in on midway through the third quarter. So they got off to a couple of minutes of a head start, and so we'll be able to kind of wrap up that game as well and let you know what the draw will be for this weekend. As you see the halftime stats up on your screen of this game, the Dolphins, of course, you see it right with the field goal percentage, Mike. The Dolphins at 53%, and John Jay only at 23%. And then, of course, it's the turnovers, 24 for John Jay, 9 for the Dolphins. And, Mike, CSI Dolphins made it a pointed emphasis that they needed to shoot the ball better coming out of that game against Lehman, where they only shot 34%. Well, they're shooting 53% right now. Only 3 of 12 from beyond the arc is a number that they'd like to shoot better from, but things are running fairly smoothly for them here. The fast break is moving. They're getting contributions from the bench, and they're putting away a team like John Jay away, and they're getting themselves ready for semifinal action.
And, Dave, we should have plenty of time here in this second half to discuss the men's side of the CUNYAC conference as well as hopefully get a couple of players on the air here for you, Dave, during the second half, as well as the College of Staten Island sitting in that bye position, Dave. They will play Wednesday night, as they will await the winner of some action here this weekend, as in the opening round games, John Jay was able to advance as Medgar Evers decided not to show up, and then Brooklyn College dropped that game to Hunter, so the CUNYAC champions, Dave, out of the tournament very early.
Yeah, and this goes to show you how quickly things change in the college game. You lose a couple of seniors, and now you're starting almost effectively over, and Brooklyn is out of the tournament. And then Mike, Medgar Evers, from what we heard, was a student-athlete, quote-unquote, protest of their coach not being able to coach them in their game against John Jay. John Jay was all dressed up with nothing to do last night as they got an automatic pass into a game against Baruch, which should be a really good game tomorrow afternoon, Mike. In Manhattan, John Jay will take on Baruch on the men's side, and the winner of that game, Mike, gets the CSI Dolphins on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and that should be a good game, and either team, Dave, will present a challenge to the Dolphins this Wednesday, and we'll probably have an opportunity to ask some of the men's basketball players about that here in the second half.
Yeah, I don't know who they'd rather play when you think about it. I mean, there'll be a choice, John Jay or Baruch, that they'll have before it's decided. So we'll see how that goes.
As the Bloodhounds turn the ball over and the Dolphins lay the ball up and in, so the Dolphins pick up right where they left off in the first half.
Yeah, and Kohler got banged up on the play after that turnover, the 25th of the game for John Jay. Kohler's going to shake it off and stay in, but she's nursing that right wrist. And John Jay, thin as it is, and Claire Prince actually playing for John Jay on the court with 4 fouls.
Yeah, so the Bloodhounds will hope that she's able to stay in the game, as it's now Prince with the basketball. She drives her way inside. Her floater is up, no good. Nice hustle play that time by Prince, but she's unable to keep the ball in bounds. So it will be Dolphin basketball.
Prince had one of her best games against CSI during the regular season. She had 15 points in a loss here at the Sports and Rec Center, and tonight, just 1 point for Claire.
As Perrone with the reverse layup, and that's up and in. So Perrone has 4 now for the Dolphins, and the Bloodhounds will bring the ball up across the midcourt line.
Yeah, she also has 3 rebounds in this game. So Perrone, after sitting out the game against Lehman, the season finale, picks back up here with a good outing.
Ruiz tries to drive the ball inside. She loses possession, and the Bloodhounds fortunate to get the jump ball call, and it will remain Bloodhound basketball with just over a minute gone by here in this second half, and the Dolphins in control of this one.
Yeah, so they'll reset the shot clock as well for John Jay.
Dolphins looking to inbound the basketball now, and the Bloodhounds, I should say, and they lose possession. So now it's the Dolphins with the basketball off of another Bloodhound turnover. As Cray puts up the three-pointer and buries it. She's now in double figures for the Dolphins as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Cray had a very quiet first half, Mike, because she played a majority of the first quarter only, but back out there on the floor and contributing offensively.
So the Bloodhounds with the basketball now as the bounce pass goes up over to Nicholson. Nicholson double team. She works the ball up over to Taylor. Taylor's long three-pointer is up, no good. And Perone there to grab the rebound and feed it to Passatoro. Passatoro driving across the three-point line. And she kicks it over to Cray. Cray's long three-pointer is in and out. But Angelique Price is there to grab the rebound and lay it up and in. And she still leads all scorers, Dave, with 16.
That wonderful left hand of Angelique Price, Mike, takes defenses by surprise. A very soft touch around the basket. And Angelique Price, who also was quiet in the second quarter after a monster first, 16 points, as Mike mentioned.
Prince with the basketball, driving her way inside. That shot is up, no good. Taylor there to grab the rebound. That putback no good as Taylor continues to struggle. She's missed her last 10 from the field.
Wow.
A nice move that time by Flecker to lay it up and in, and she now has 15 for the Dolphins.
Yeah, give and go and give again. Price and Flecker exchanging passes there, and a lot of nice crisp passing through traffic.
So it's Ruiz with the basketball now. Ruiz looking to work against Cray. Now the ball gets worked in the corner. Cola feeding it to Taylor. Back up over to Prince. Now Ruiz kicks the ball in the corner. The long three-pointer by Nicholson is up. No good. A fight for the whistle. And I believe Rosa Perone, Dave, will pick up her fourth personal foul.
Yes, and indeed she will. So Perone doesn't like it, but that'll be her fourth. So that is an aspect of Rosa's game that she certainly needs to work on as she matriculates. She has 4 disqualifications this year due to foul outs.
So the Bloodhounds turn the ball over once again. That's 27 now as Passatoro lays it up and in for the Dolphins.
And Passatoro, you'd like to think she'd hit the 20-point mark, Mike. She's got 14, but she's got a streak going now. I believe it's 20 games in a row where she scored 20 or more points. So that's the longest streak in CSI history. And it will continue, but she'll need 6 more at some point.
Yeah, and it looks like she's good. She's finishing second in the conference in scoring. Emily Del Rosario, another CUNYAC scoring title for Emily of the Lightning, Dave.
Yeah, and you know, Emily Del Rosario takes a lot of shots for Lehman. She doesn't have quite a good a field goal percentage as Passatoro does, but I'll tell you what, you put both of those gals on the same team, and you're going to be scoring 80, 90 points a game. Both terrific shooters.
Yeah, so now the Bloodhounds with another turnover, and once again the Dolphins with the basketball. Flecker over to Passatoro, and she'll now back the ball out and look to set up offensively.
It's the kind of player Passatoro is too, Mike. Very unselfish. That time she had a clear view at the basket, could have easily put it up for an easy 2, and instead backpedals out.
And now Price puts up the three-pointer. That's no good, and Taylor grabs the rebound for the Bloodhounds. Taylor, she struggled from the field, and we're going to have a whistle and a foul called on the play.
That'll be on Price, and it was before the shot, so the shot will not count. Perone comes out, Callie back in. Callie's played pretty well here, coming off the bench for the Dolphins in this one.
Dolphins looking to advance to Tuesday night against Lehman College as that long three-pointer is going to be up and in as Cola hits the three-pointer and gets her first basket of the afternoon for the Bloodhounds. Flecker's short jumper is up, no good, and the rebound's going to be grabbed by Prince, and here come the Bloodhounds. Taylor looking to work against the smaller Victoria Cray. Nice job by Cray. Kicked out in the corner to Nicholson. Her three-pointer is no good, but Taylor grabs the offensive rebound, misses the putback, but follows it up and lays it in.
See, and that's a cause for concern for the Dolphins because that time Cassandra Taylor did a nice job getting an offensive rebound and a layup, but then the Dolphins just kind of gave up on the play and allowed Cassandra to get another layup another rebound and another layup. And those are the kind of small things that, Mike, when you're up by 43 points, you forget about. But those are the little things that the Dolphins need to kind of tidy up here as they get ready for semifinal play.
As the ball gets fed ahead to Price. Price, a nice bounce pass over to Passatoro, who lays it up and in.
So now she matches the team lead with Price with 16 points on the evening, 4 of 9 from the floor. 5 of 10 from the floor.
4 Dolphins out on the floor now with double figures as we have 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining here in the third quarter as Taylor's short jumper is up no good. Her struggles from the field continue, and now it's Passatoro with the basketball for the Dolphins. Price looking to work the ball inside. It comes over to Callie. Now the Dolphins working the ball around the three-point line. Flecker working the ball up over to Passatoro. Passatoro's long three-pointer is up no good. She's just 1 of 7, Dave, from the three-point line once again, and she struggled a little bit with the three-point shooting late in the season.
Oh, no question about it, Mike. At one point, she was at 42% from three-point range, and she was kind of ranked in the, NCAA, top 20, top 25 discussion for shooting three-pointers. Now she's gone considerably cold since then, and for the season, she's averaging, respectable 39%. Anytime you could shoot about 40, that's considered very good at this level of basketball. But over the last 3 or 4 games, it's been a struggle for Christina.
And the Dolphins now getting out rebounded in this game, Dave. 28-23 is Nuwaji able to convert a second chance opportunity here for John Jay. And even in this game, Dave, a game that the Dolphins have outscored the Bloodhounds 71-28. John Jay outscoring the Dolphins in second chance points 8-4.
Yeah, and that's always going to be a difficulty with teams like the Dolphins. They're always notoriously small. They're usually not going to win the rebounding battle, but they make up for that by causing a lot of turnovers and getting a lot of lopsided looks at the basket because of that difference.
As the shot that time is up, no good. Another offensive rebound here for the Lightning as they work it over to Kohler, and her long three-pointer is up no good as we have a John Jay player down on the floor. That's Nuwaji.
Yeah.
And the ball is going to roll out of bounds.
And Prince went down pretty hard as well, but now she's up, and Nwange, peels herself up, and Nicholson comes back in for John Jay.
And she's going to hobble her way over to the bench, and she started to play pretty effectively, Dave. She had 6 points here and 9 rebounds for the Bloodhounds, and now she'll have to go to the bench. As the shot is up, no good, and Cray grabs the rebound for the Dolphins. Cray backing the ball out now as we approach 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining here in this third quarter. Cray getting the ball up over to Callie. Now back up over to Passatoro. Now it'll be Angelique Price as the Dolphins start to work the shot clock down. Now inside of 5 seconds is Passatoro with the wide open jumper in the lane, and that's good. And she's up to 18, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely needs 2 more for that streak to continue. But, Mike, we were talking about her three-point shooting. I was able to do a couple of quick numbers ever since that game against Drew University. So now the last 6 games and counting, Passatoro is 14 of 67 from three-point range. That's only 21%. So it's certainly something that has been bothering her. And, to shoot 21% over your last 6 games and still for the season be at 40%, it just goes to show you just how hot she was at one point. But now it's dissipated. And, if I'm Christina, though, I just keep shooting. And this is a game where it's at your disposal to do that and work your way out of it.
Yeah, and Dave, for the Dolphins to be successful, they need three-point shooting from Passatoro. So, for them to be successful against Lehman on Tuesday, and then if they have an opportunity to play the winner of Brooklyn College, we're still not sure who they're going to play yet. Dolphins need her three-point shooting.
Definitely, and they are a three-point shooting team. When they win games, you see it in the box scores that they do well from behind the arc. When they lose games, you also see it in the box score. It's a direct correlation to how they play.
As Flecker misses the layup, and now it's Prince with the rebound as she brings the ball across, as we're now inside of 1 minute remaining here in this third quarter. Ruiz, now Prince. Prince puts up the long two-pointer, and it's off the rim and in. John Jay gets that basket. They're now being outscored 21-7 here in this third quarter as the Dolphins with a big lead in this game inside of 35 seconds remaining here in this third quarter. Cray over to Flecker. Flecker, her long two-point jumper is up no good, but she's there to grab the rebound. And now, Dave, the Dolphins should be able to hold for the last shot.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a nice heads-up play. Again, those are the little things in a 40-point game that you don't need necessarily, but it shows a lot of hustle.
As the Dolphins work the ball around the perimeter, now it's Price. Her long shot is up no good, but Flecker controls the rebound for the Dolphins. Now pass to Toro, and she hits her second three-pointer of the game, and she now has 21 as Dolphins roll into the fourth quarter, Dave, after outscoring John Jay here in the third by 12 once again.
Yeah, absolutely. The first and the third really have been the story for the Dolphins. They outscored John Jay 24-9 in that quarter, and they take a monster 46-point lead here at the end of three.
So 3 quarters in the books. The Dolphins lead by a score 76-30. We'll step aside, take a break, get you ready for the fourth quarter as you're watching women's basketball CUNYAC coverage right here on your voice of CSI Sports, CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-one physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life.
We're back, and we're getting ready to start the fourth quarter. The Dolphins comfortably in control of this game as they are going to advance into the semifinal round against Lehman College this Tuesday night. Game time approximately 8 o'clock as 10 minutes of play remaining in this game. But we're very pleased to be joined now by the senior forward of the CSI Dolphins, Khalid Bauman. You know, Khalid, the Dolphins are on a roll. 13 wins in a row and undefeated in conference play. First of all, congratulations on just a fantastic year.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. It's been a great senior year for me and for us at CSI.
You know, Khalid, you're coming into the game. You're averaging 13.5 points a game and 7.6 rebounds. And, you know, we know you're going to play Wednesday night at 6 o'clock, but you're going to play the winner of this John Jay Baruch game that's coming up tomorrow. Two teams that you've seen twice here in the season.
Right, and we're actually looking forward to it. You know, it's going to be hard to beat any team three times in a row, but that's our goal. You know, we try to win the championship this year, and that'll be a great way to end my senior year, undefeated in the conference and with a championship.
You know, Khalid, this Dolphin team hasn't won the CUNYAC championship since back in the 2012-2013 season. And, you know, there were a lot of questions coming into on the team this year, losing Will Fonseca and several other seniors last year. But the senior leadership provided by you and Frankie Schettino has just been outstanding, and the team has really performed so well this year.
Yeah, we have to give a lot of credit to Frankie. Frankie stepped up big time. You know, he's leading us, actually. You know, he's the floor general. We on the floor, he tells us what to do. And as the role players, we just do it, and it's been working for us, you know. 19-6 overall, and so why not go with what's working? So we're going to let Frankie control, and everybody else as role players, we're going to do our job.
You know, Khalid, this team has a lot of young talent as well. Christian Taylor really stepping up. Stephen Flagg really picking up his game offensively this year. And, you know, I think one player that really has stepped up is Kevon Murphy, who's nearly averaging a double-double a game for this team.
Right, and also I wanted to say you missed out Jade. Jade is a true, to me, a true freshman in football terms. You know, like Jay steps it up. He works hard in practice. He pushes me. He pushes Kevon. You know, and that's where it starts. It starts in practice. So practice team, they push the starters, to go hard, and when they come in, they don't miss a beat. They right on it.
You know, Khalid, this team has not lost a game since back in the Tournament of Heroes, and when you dropped that tough game in the championship round, and you know, you look back on this year, Khalid, 19-6 overall, and you know, several of those games you lost, you led at halftime, so you really have to be feeling well about how this team is playing.
I feel very confident. I won't say I feel content, but I feel confident with the team. We just trying to stay focused, especially like you said, us seniors. Like, there's no second chance for us. So we're trying to go out, be leaders on the floor, and everybody's just been great. From the bench into the starting five, everybody's just been great. It's been like a family.
You know, Khalid, you really clinched the first place in the conference 3 or 4 games ago, and, you know, you've been playing with house money ever since. Now you're going into a game on Wednesday, one and done. How does the team look at a game like that and come out and be able to play your game?
We go out, we look at it as it's another game. Like, every game been important. Since we clinched first place, we've been playing every game like it's been a playoff game. We didn't want to take any chances with any teams to give them the satisfaction as to say that they beat CSI. So we're gonna try to continue 2 games away from the championship, even though it's 1 game at a time. Whoever we play, we don't want to give them the satisfaction as for them to say they beat us and they beat us in a crucial game. So in practice, we just go hard every day. And Wednesday, we'll just have to play our game, and hopefully we come on top.
You know, these games played at the Nat Holman Gymnasium, and it's a little bit of a strange gym, Khalid, the way the gym is and everything is set so far back away from the basket. Does the team have to do anything differently in preparation for a game like that, or do you really just look at it as just like playing here at Staten Island?
It's a little different, we know, because it's not our gym, it's not the home field, but we just focus way more on our defense. If we can stop them from scoring, our offense will come. And we actually thrive on our defense. We thrive on getting stops. We thrive on getting blocks. And that could carry us. That will carry us.
You know, we're here with Khalid Baum, who's nice enough to join us here in the 4th quarter of this second-round game between the Dolphins and the Bloodhounds. And, you know, Khalid, you've had just such an outstanding season, shooting 54% from the field, 72% from the free throw line, averaging over 7.5 rebounds a year, and, you know, really have stepped in and really played big this year for the Dolphins.
Thank you. It was a job that I felt like that needed to be done because, like you said before, we've been missing a big key asset from last year, Will Fonseca. So I was like, let me just be a role. And like I said before, defense, I just try to work on defense. The offense will always come. I just try to be in the right places at the right time, and it's been in my favor this year.
You know, Khalid, one of the differences in this CSI Dolphin team, maybe from teams in the past, is head coach Tony Petosa played so many more players during the course of the game. And, you know, you've added a couple of players in the middle of the season, and Vinny DeCunto finishing out his senior year, but also Darryl Bryan, who's really shown flashes in his first season.
Right. It's been, I mean, with the team we have this year, there's a lot of equal talent. So for Coach to play multiple players off the bench more than he's done in the past years, this is a good thing for us. It gives everybody rest. It gives everybody playing time. And like you said, with Darryl and Vinny coming, like Darryl's been like a sniper from the corner. He's been hitting clutch shots in the corner. Vinny, he bring that defensive intensity. He's very fired up as soon as he hit the floor. And that's what we need. We need that with every player.
So, Khalid, one final question for you. 12 days by the time you play this Wednesday, since your last win against Lehman College, a very exciting 78-76 win here at the Sports and Recreation Center. What does the team do during that time to stay sharp and stay ready?
Practice. We Coach puts on 2 different teams, black and white, and we just go at it. We go at it like it's a real game because every other team that we will face has the opportunity to have games in the time from the last game of the season. We don't. We get 2 buys, which can hurt us if we just practice like everything is regular. But we don't. In practice, we go hard at each other. We push each other. We just get physical because this is what we're gonna need. We're gonna need that for Wednesday.
You know, Khalid, I know I said it was the last question, but I have
okay.
I have one more for you. You just edged Lehman College by 2 points in your last regular season game. Defending champ Brooklyn College has already been eliminated from the tournament as they lost in their game already. Who's the team to beat outside of the CSI Dolphins?
It's tough. I would say between two teams. It will be Lehman, which you can see last game, it was a real tough game for us, and also CCNY. The reason why I say CCNY is because they're very athletic, and they second place team, and also they got a home court advantage. So it's going to be real hard to beat both teams.
Thanks a lot, Khalid.
No problem. Thanks, Mike.
That's senior Khalid Baum, who was nice enough to join us here as the College of Staten Island getting ready to play on Wednesday night. That game will be at 6 o'clock in the Nat Holman Gymnasium as the College of Staten Island will await the winner of the John J. Baruch game, as the Dolphins holding on to an 81-35 lead here with 6 minutes to go. And it looks like we're going to be joined now by Eden Brocic. Eden taking some time off. Nice enough to join us while watching your sister as you guys are smoking the Bloodhounds here this afternoon, Eden.
Yeah, I love coming to watch the girls play. They play great, always up-tempo. It's fun to come watch my sister play.
You know, Eden, we were just talking with your teammate Khalid Baum, and, you know, you guys have had just such an absolute fantastic year, going 16-0 in the conference, winning your last 13 games. Is this what you guys expected coming into the season?
To be honest, I think we all knew being 16-0 is a long shot. But midway through the year, like a little earlier, around December, I told Khalid, we had a talk in warm-ups that I think we can go 16-0 after a big win against Baruch. And after then, we just kept going and kept fighting and didn't take any breaks. We wanted it bad.
You know, Ed, this team is so much deeper, and the offense is so much more spread out than some of the CSI Dolphin teams in the past. But, you know, you guys have been getting such great backcourt play from you. But what a season being had by Frankie Schettino for the Dolphins once again.
He's great. I'm amazed every single game he does something that I didn't know he could do. That's how good he is. I hope he could continue his career wherever he wants to go, professional, overseas, here. I just want to see him keep going because he's great.
You know, we're being joined here by Eden Brocic. Eden, another great year for you, averaging 11 points a game, shooting nearly 38% from the three-point line. And something Dave and I say all the time when we're on the air is that this CSI offensive team is so much different when you're hitting your three-point shot.
Oh, when I'm hitting the three, can't lie. Our inside game with Kavan and Khalik is amazing, and with Frankie being an inside-out great player. But when I hit the three, and Vinny and Daryl and Christian, when we all hit shots, it just opens up. There's so many options. There's no wrong way to go.
You know, and you just mentioned a couple of other players on the team, and, you know, one of the big differences in this CSI Dolphin team than in teams past is you have the ability for so many of these different players to score, and so much young talent on this Dolphin team as well.
Coach brought in a lot of good players. They're young, they're tough, they're good kids. They listen. They're gonna be good. Like in the future, next year, the games now, they know what they're doing. They're good kids. They're good recruits.
You know, and this team is going to have 12 days in between games since your last win against Lehman College here at the Sports and Recreation Center. You know, as a question we asked Khalid before, how do you guys stay sharp with nearly a 2-week layoff in between games?
Practice hasn't been like, it's been more intense this past 2 weeks because we know if we take a little break, it's gonna bite us in the butt. We're gonna be in trouble.
You know, Ed, and one of the big differences, of course, between a regular season game and these tournament games is it's one and done. There's no opportunity to have a bad night, a bad game. You guys are awaiting the winner of the John J. Baruch College game. Any preference on who you play on Wednesday night?
I'm going to say the honest truth. I have a preference. They're both great teams. It's all about matchups, and it's tough. John Jay is more front court. Their front court is amazing. They have Richardson, Epps, and Harkins. But Baruch has every position, so it's just really tough to see which one It depends on the matchups, which one we prefer. I don't know which one I prefer, but I know they're both going to be tough games for sure.
You know, Ed, you're an outside shooter, and you're going to go into these final couple of games, hopefully, in the Nat Holman Gymnasium. A lot different kind of gym than CSI, a lot more spacious, a lot more space behind the backboards. Does that affect your shooting in any way?
It's funny that you say that because I'm a horrible shooter over there. I don't like that gym. I'm a bad shooter over there. It's all mental for sure, but I got to fix it right away because I want to end the season strong with the championship.
Yeah, and, you know, this Dolphin team has been red hot in the year, and, you know, you mentioned earlier you realized with a few games left that this team had an opportunity to go 16-0, but, you know, every time we talk about this Dolphin team, we start with the defense, and it seems like when this team is playing good defense, that really opens up the offense.
Yes, we just play hard. We pressure the ball. Coach tells us what to do. We either front the person. We know exactly what to do. We just keep the intensity up, and it's great.
Well, good luck Wednesday night, Eden.
Thank you.
As we are being joined by Eden Bracic. Eden taking a couple of minutes to join us after watching his sister play. And, you know, Dave, with 2 minutes and 1 second remaining in this game and the Dolphins blowing this game open, nice opportunity to talk to both Eden Bracic and Khalid Baum, two key components of this undefeated CUNYAC CSI regular season championship team.
Yeah, it's good to see both of these guys in the house supporting the CSI women's team as they are obviously going to punch their ticket to a semifinal, but also, you know, you can just, you know, hear how modest and how soft-spoken they are when it comes to the success that they've had this season. It's obviously team first with these guys, and you know what, Mike, it's one thing to win games. It's another thing to win them the right way and to do it the right way, the way good programs do, and that's what CSI men's basketball is all about. That's what it's been about for you know, as long as I've been here, 20 years or so, and counting, obviously, with Tony Petoza as the coach of the year. So big things, and hopefully not over yet, and the season will continue deep into next week.
Yeah, and, you know, Dave, we know regardless of who the opponent is going to be in that semifinal game, as the Dolphins turn the ball over here, and they've outscored the Bloodhounds 12-7 here in the fourth quarter. But, you know, it's just been such a great season, Dave, for the men's basketball team, and they've been really just such a pleasure to watch all season long, between the young players moving in and, you know, the exciting new players and, you know, great play out of the veterans and, you know, a team that shoots 46% from the field, Dave, and, you know, in Khalid Baum and Kevon Murphy, two players that are shooting 54% or better from the field.
Yeah, and it's one of those seasons that no one ever saw coming, Mike, because, you know, the Dolphins have had so much success in their program history, and yet this is only the fourth time that they've ever gone undefeated during a regular season in the CUNY, and we're talking about some great teams of the past, and it's so hard to do, especially when you lose the back-to-back CUNY Player of the Year in Will Fonseca, someone who was such a great inside-out player, a good defensive, you know, catalyst as well at times. And to lose a player like that and to come back with all the new faces and to put up a 16-0 CUNY season in a conference that, you know, top to bottom, pretty much anybody can beat anybody on any given night. That's a pretty remarkable feat. And, you know, Tony Petoza was very quick to admit that, too, that, you know, even he's left a little bit impressed by going 16-0. It's a really, really hard thing to do.
As the Dolphins bring the ball across the midcourt line with under 10 seconds remaining, and the CSI Dolphins are going to advance into the semifinal round, and they'll look to break that glass ceiling of the semifinal round against Lehman College in the second game this Tuesday night, Dave. So not much time for celebration for the Dolphins. They came out, they took care of business here tonight, but a big matchup coming up Tuesday night against Lehman College.
Yeah, listen, on paper, you had to figure the Dolphins were an overwhelming favorite. Well, they came out and proved that. They won by 53. It was their biggest win of the season, and now it gets a lot more real in the next couple of days. Dolphins will punch their ticket to Lehman College.
And we're going to be joined now by Samantha Flecker. Samantha joining us for the second time in the last week or so. First of all, congratulations, Samantha, for advancing into the semifinal round.
Thank you.
You guys had a little bit of a tough finish to the season. You guys were sitting in first place. You'd won 11 in a row, dropped your last 2 games, but now you have to get right back and get ready to play this Tuesday night against Lehman College. What do you feel the attitude of the team will be going into that game?
Literally, we are going in with full throttle. We're ready to go. We're very lucky and very blessed to have another game under our belt. 3rd seed, that's good for us. We got another home game out of it. We got another playing game, another 40-minute game for everybody to play, and everyone did really well today. So we're going to take this game and run with it on Tuesday and have a great run with it.
Samantha, you go in having just won on your own court to the Nat Holman Gymnasium, and it's a very different gym than the CSI Sports and Recreation Center. A lot of gaps behind the basket. Does the team do anything differently when you play in that gym?
I mean, yeah, it's a different atmosphere. It's a different, obviously the gym, the basketball hoops are like the motion ones. I don't know which ones they are, but there's really nothing we change. We have the shot, we'll take a shooting game. Craig's gonna have a good.
Out, fell behind 6-5, and then never looked back.
Yeah, that was pretty much all she wrote after that monster first quarter. It was all CSI from there, a well-deserved huge victory, and maybe a nice little buffer, Mike, and something to really get positive momentum into that game on Tuesday night. You and Joe Foreman will be there to cover. It should be a wild game between CSI and the defending champion, Lehman College. Always a lot of fireworks when those two teams get together. I'm looking forward to watching it. And, really this Dolphins team, it's just like you said, a little bit of a glass ceiling trying to get to that championship, but now they've taken their first big step and some nice positive momentum going into City College.
And then we'll be right back, Dave, the following night as the men's team look to extend their unbeaten record. And, we had an opportunity to talk a little bit with Khalid Baum and Ed Brachich here in the 4th quarter of the game here this afternoon. And, just talking to those plays is a good indication on why I think we like this team so much.
Yeah, you know what? Great gentlemen, great players, and also just very poised, very relaxed, very calm, cool, and collected team. They don't even know who they're playing yet, Mike. Baruch will play John Jay tomorrow night. That game will determine who the Dolphins play on Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock, a game that we will carry for you here on CSI Sportsnet, and basically one that we're very eager to bring you. And, the Dolphins looking to also get back on top of the CUNY after a couple of years' absence, and what better season to do it than an undefeated one like this one.
Yeah, and, just a final update here of CCNY and Hunter, a 2-point game, Dave. CCNY leading Hunter 67-65.
That's great, Mike.
2:22 left in the game. So that's going to wrap things up here from the CSI Sports and Recreation Center. For our broadcast engineer, Mishak Alexander, and my broadcast partner, Dave Pizzuto, this is Mike Babusky saying so long and thanks for joining us. Don't forget to join us this Tuesday night. Joe Foreman, making his basketball debut, will be joining me at courtside as the Dolphins will take on Lehman College for the right to advance into the finals of this 2017 CUNYAC tournament. So have a great afternoon, everybody. We'll see you Tuesday night from the Nat Holman Gymnasium.